America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, broadcasting from our studio in Edmonton, Canada. It's Wednesday, May the 5th, middle of the week. Wednesday, May the 5th, 2021 on this side of the world, and a good Thursday morning. Magandang umaga to our viewers in the Philippines. In the news today, we have updates from several of our correspondents from across North and Central America. May Davila in Panama tells us about a modular camp in Darien to house more than 500 migrants from Colombia. Mila Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Tax forgiveness program for low-income Pennsylvanians.
Michael Hudson in Seattle tells us about several Washington counties on the brink of rolling back phase 2 amid a surge of the COVID-19 virus. Bureau Chief Angel Membreri in Sacramento, California, reports about the state gearing up for wildfire season. In New Jersey, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez reports that several universities in the states will be receiving some grant money. And for ABC Sports, Alan Basayahe tells us about LPGA golfer Brooke Henderson. You know, she's Canadian. We'll talk about her latest win. From the business desk, Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio shares a story about a Dallas pharmacist who opened her own shop amid the challenges of this pandemic. Oh, and for Teacher Appreciation Week, Hazel Valina in New York will give us some tips on how to celebrate virtually. And that's going to be the topic of our roundtable tonight, reasons why we are grateful for teachers. Our coverage begins now. Is this what we've come to? Two Asian women waiting for a bus in San Francisco's Chinatown district. They're in hospital today, recovering from stab wounds. The two attacked around the dinner hour yesterday. The women were aged 63 and 84 years. San Francisco District 6 Supervisor Matt Haney says on Twitter he has reached out to the families of both victims. He says they're out of surgery, in stable condition. One of them was actually had life-threatening injuries when she was first brought in yesterday. And he terms the attacks disgusting and horrific. Police have a 54-year-old man in custody, motive unclear. Haney says the man faces 2 charges of attempted murder and elder abuse. Police trying to determine whether hate crime charges should be laid. They're expected to provide an update tomorrow. The incident is the most recent in a spate of similar attacks on Asian Americans in the United States. International aid continues to arrive in India. A 6th plane load of supplies from the U.S. landed in New Delhi today. The shipment included rapid tests, N95 masks, and an oxygen generator. About an hour ago, I learned the Canadian government is sending 350 ventilators and 25,000 vials of an antiviral drug to India. But you know, more is going to be needed from countries all over the world to fight this virus, which is just ravaging that country. The situation is not getting any better. You know, in the past 12 days, the death toll has doubled. In the past 18 days, case counts have doubled. Now government officials are warning the country will have to be ready for new waves of the virus. So this is far from over. This is the situation today in India. 383,000 new cases of COVID-19, 3,780 deaths in the last 24 hours. You know, that's nearly 3 deaths every minute. And these are just the official numbers. The actual case counts are believed to be much higher. Now, as the Indian government tries to tame this pandemic, it's making it easier in one city for seniors and disabled people to get immunized. A drive-in vaccination center has been opened in Mumbai. People don't have to get out of their cars to get their shot, and it's proving to be a hit with people.
Because it's not possible for her to stand in line for 2 hours. Yesterday we went to Nair, it took us 1 hour 35 minutes to stand in the queue before we could even enter the hospital. My husband and I went there for our second day. So it's not possible. She's 81 years old. The government hospitals don't provide chairs. So this is an excellent, I would say, initiative.
There is so much of population in the city. Still, government is doing such a nice thing by providing vaccination with so much of social distancing. It's a very good initiative.
Yeah, we are sitting in our own car. That is the most that you are distancing from other people. That is the most important one.
Because
Let's take a look now at today's COVID-19 numbers. They're provided by the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. As of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide, now more than 154,614,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases: the United States, more than 32.5 million, India, more than 20.6 million, and Brazil, more than 14.8 million. Sadly, more than 3,232,000 lives worldwide have been lost to this virus. The top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths: the United States, more than 579,000, Brazil, more than 411,000, India, more than 226,000. Mexico's president promising an in-depth investigation into Monday night's collapse of an elevated commuter train line in Mexico City. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador promises there will be justice, possibly criminal charges. Obrador has declared 3 days of national mourning. At least 25 people died in that tragedy, dozens of others injured. The metro train line has been plagued with problems since it was built. Questions have been raised about the line's construction and maintenance standards. At the accident site today, workers continued the grim task of sifting through the wreckage, recovering bodies. Do you have a treadmill in your home that you exercise on? And by the way, who was the manufacturer? Exercise equipment maker Peloton says it is recalling some of its treadmills after multiple accidents, including one that killed a child. You can see on the screen here what happened, and a warning: some viewers might find this video clip disturbing. Now, this child that you see here was lucky. He managed to pull himself out and run away. Just watch what happens here. The recall of the Tread Plus comes after more than 70 incidents of adults, children, and pets being pulled from under the belt of the unit. The accident caused 29 injuries to children and the death of a 6-year-old. The company has apologized for not acting sooner. Peloton will refund the purchase price to consumers who wish to return the treadmills. Now, these things aren't cheap. Prices start at about $4,300. That's 206,000 pesos. The company's shares dropped nearly 14% in early afternoon trading. Now look at this here on the screen. Again, you can see this child was lucky. Donald Trump has been banned from Facebook for at least another 6 months. The social media giant's independent oversight board upheld a previous 6-month suspension of Trump's account. The board says given the seriousness of Trump's violation and the risk of violence, Facebook was justified in suspending the accounts. Michael McConnell, the co-chair of the oversight board, says they stopped short of issuing an indefinite suspension.
We are giving Facebook 6 months to conduct this review, at which point the company must make a definite and clear determination based on the severity of the conduct and the danger of future harm. Either restore Mr. Trump's account, finding that the period of suspension has met its purpose, make the suspension permanent, or suspend the account for a determinate period of time.
Predictably, the Donald is unhappy with the decision. Trump calls it a total disgrace for online giants to institute social media bans. He adds it infringes upon his free speech. Let's take a break now and do a little whale watching. What you're looking at here on the screen is a 15-month-old gray whale calf, and you know, he's a long way from home. This sea mammal was spotted in the Mediterranean Sea. Now, its usual habitat is on the other side of the globe, the northern Pacific Ocean. So how did it get to the Mediterranean? Adrian Garnier, a veterinarian, says this species normally spends its summers near Alaska, and he speculates it may have got lost in the Beaufort Sea, and instead of returning south to the Pacific, it headed toward the Atlantic Ocean through the Beaufort Sea, and then it eventually got trapped in the Mediterranean. Divers are trying to guide the whale back out of the Mediterranean and back into the Atlantic Ocean. Up next, we have stories from Panama and New Jersey. Eagle News America continues.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. In Panama, camps are being built to house temporary migrants who are crossing the border from neighboring Colombia. With more on that story, EBC's May Davila.
Panama is to build a modular camp receiving 544 temporary migrants in Darien, a province bordering Colombia. Immigration authorities of the country prepare for this migrant arrival. Thousands of migrants from various countries are entering the border between Panama and Colombia, both through the dangerous Darien jungle and by sea. These migrants, moved by international criminal networks, cross several South American countries destined for North America. During the first quarter of this year, over 7,000 migrants entered Panama illegally through Darien. According to data released by the Panamanian Foreign Ministry, around 4,000 of these migrants just this March. The camp, which will cost $1.9 million, will have 272 cabins for a total of 544 people. The migrant reception site should include corridors, living areas, and dining rooms. The dormitory areas have high-traffic bathrooms with 20 toilets, 26 showers, and 28 sinks. The kitchen area will have 2 industrial gas stoves with 3 burners, 2 stainless steel refrigerators, 2 stainless steel freezers, sinks, and a prep table. A care clinic will be a modular one that has 2 service areas, a half bathroom, a waiting area, and an office. Panama has been receiving illegal migratory flows for more than a decade, peaking in 2015 and 2016 when they reached more than 30,000 migrants each year. The migration authorities of Panama and Colombia signed a cooperation understanding agreement on irregular migration flows. Panama proposes this as a first step to comprehensively and responsibly address the situation of migrants in the border area within the framework of the second bilateral meeting between Panama and Colombia. Through this memorandum, the Colombian authorities will share information with their Panamanian counterpart with a term not exceeding 24 hours regarding migrants from Colombia heading to the border of Panama. Desde Ciudad de Panama, May Davila, Eagle News. Vivimos en tiempos interesantes.
There's some good news for low-income Pennsylvanians. They'll be eligible for the tax forgiveness program. Joining us now from Swarthmore, Pennsylvania with the details, Eagle News correspondent Myla Simbulan. Myla, good evening, and thanks for being on the program.
Good evening, Thomas, and good morning to all our televiewers on the other side of the world. Yes, you're right, Thomas. With the personal income tax filing deadline approaching on May 17, 2021, the Department of Revenue is reminding low-income Pennsylvanians that they may be eligible for a refund or reduction of their Pennsylvania personal income taxes through the Commonwealth's Tax Forgiveness Program. About 1 in 5 households qualify for tax forgiveness, and it is a benefit commonly received by retirees and low-income workers. However, every year, there are hundreds of thousands of eligible Pennsylvanians who do not take advantage of the program because they fail to file a Pennsylvania personal income tax return or PA-40 to claim the reduction or refund on their taxes. A family of four, couple with two children, can earn up to $34,250 and qualify for tax forgiveness. Meanwhile, a single parent, two-child family with income of up to $27,750 can also qualify for tax forgiveness. Just visit the tax forgiveness page on the Department of Revenue's website for further eligibility information, including eligibility income tables. Using the most recent data available, the Department of Revenue estimates there are at least 380,000 Pennsylvania taxpayers who would qualify for tax forgiveness but fail to file an income tax return with the Commonwealth to claim the benefit. That estimated number could be much higher because depending on the number of children eligible taxpayers have, these people are missing out on refunds ranging between $10 and $1,000. As a reminder, again, the deadline for filing 2020 Pennsylvania personal income tax returns and making final 2020 income tax payments is May 17, 2021. Right now, Thomas, in Swarthmore, it's 61 degrees Fahrenheit or 16 degrees Celsius with mostly clear skies. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Mila Simbula, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Every spring, the snow melts and taxes.
Yes.
Two things you can count on. Give us a bit of background, though, on that tax for Pennsylvania.
Sure, Thomas. So this program was authorized decades ago, in the 1970s, through legislation enacted by Pennsylvania's General Assembly. The tax forgiveness program allows eligible taxpayers to reduce all or part of their Pennsylvania personal income tax liability. For example, for taxpayers who earn a wage, the employee can give his or her employer a form called REV-419 to ask that withholding not be done in cases of 100 tax forgiveness. In cases where withholding does occur, the taxpayer must file the personal income tax return or PA-40 and complete an additional form called the Schedule SP to claim tax forgiveness. So please keep in mind that people who are claimed as a dependent of another taxpayer are not eligible to receive tax forgiveness. There are additional instructions available in the tax forgiveness section of the Department of Revenue's Personal Income Tax Guide. Thomas?
How do you file the Pennsylvania personal income tax return and claim this? Is it a complicated procedure?
No, I don't think so. I even tried it on the website. But for taxpayers subject to employer withholding, one easy way to file your Pennsylvania personal income tax return or PA-40 and the additional form Schedule SP is by using MyPath. It's a website of Department of Revenue's. It's free online filing system. So just visit mypath.pa.gov to access this system. Taxpayers you don't need to create a username or password to perform, all those functions in MyPath, including filing the PA-40 and Schedule SP. So prior to filing your return, you will just need your wage and tax information. The system will walk you through a series of steps to file your return and determine your eligibility for tax forgiveness. There's also other free electronic filing options that are available to file state and federal returns using software from a reputable vendor. More vendor information is also available on the Department of Revenue's website. Thomas?
Okay, you've given us a lot of information. You've grabbed the interest of a lot of people who may be eligible for this, but they're never going to remember it. Also, where can they go to find out the answers to the questions they have about this program?
Exactly, Thomas. So for those who have questions on tax forgiveness, you can find answers through the department's online customer service center. And if you don't have access to the internet, you can call 717-787-8201. That's between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So the online customer service center allows taxpayers to securely submit a question to the department through a process that's something similar to sending an email. Thomas?
Thanks, Mila, and we'll see you a little bit sitting at the round table toward the end of the program.
Sure,
Still to
looking forward to
come. Okay, still to come. We got stories from Washington State, California, and New Jersey. This is Eagle News America.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced. Not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Pilipinas. A 1-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Tune into Mata ng Aguila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Aguila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to explain our help outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. With the possibility of a fourth wave of COVID-19, several counties in Washington state will likely tighten health restrictions. In Seattle, Eagle News correspondent Michael Hudson tells us why this is happening.
Thank you. So right now in Washington state, there are 409,000 total positive COVID-19 cases, as well as 5,555 deaths. Within the next couple of days, Governor Jay Inslee will be making an announcement on which counties will be rolling back to phase 2 from the current phase 3. The two largest counties, King County, where the city of Seattle is, and Snohomish County, are in danger of this rollback. According to a recent analysis of the most recent data from the Washington State Department of Health, nearly a dozen of the counties within the state still in phase 3 were not meeting the specified metric on coronavirus cases or hospitalizations needed to remain in the third phase and beyond. And I quote, "We know that our immunity across the state, whether it's because of infections or because of vaccinations, is still not high enough that we are concerned about a fourth wave." This was said by Secretary of Health Umair Shah during a news briefing last week. And they continue, "And we absolutely know that the safety and preventative precautions need to continue for a bit longer so that we can continue to fight this pandemic," and I end quote. With all of these counties going to phase 3 back in March, that meant that a lot of the indoor dining as well as the gyms opened to a larger capacity, meaning that more people were interacting with one another. And although vaccinations have been administered within the state, there's still a shortage of Washington state residents being fully vaccinated. So state officials continue to urge their residents to get their vaccinations as soon as they can so that they can continue their fight with the virus and prevent this rollback as much as they possibly can. Reporting from Seattle, I'm Michael Hudson. Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you.
Well, summer means wildfire season, and in order to prepare the state, California continues to educate people living there about the dangers of wildfires and how to prevent them. We have more on that from our Sacramento Bureau Chief, Angel Membreri.
Thank you. It is Wildfire Preparedness Week, and CAL FIRE is using this time to continue to educate residents on the importance of wildfire preparedness. California fire season is approximately 75 days longer than it was about 30 years ago, which spans across several months. At a press conference this week, Chief Tom Porter, the CAL FIRE director, spoke about the initiatives that CAL FIRE has already started to prepare for this upcoming fire season. Let's listen.
CAL FIRE this year asked for early augmentation and emergency funding and has hired an additional 1,200 to 1,400 firefighters as of now, ahead of schedule. We've put those firefighters on hand crews, we've put them on engines, and we are ready to go. We're continuing as of today, looking to hire early, again, even more of those firefighters ahead of what is our traditional peak season. More to come on that in the weeks to come, but we're finding the need this year to staff up and be ready for what looks like it could be as challenging as last year. We are continuing with our fuel reduction efforts, our fuels grant programs, so your communities can do work in these hills, much as Chief Hess mentioned, doing those projects that are geared toward protecting you and your communities as a community. That funding is open right now, and applications are being accepted through May 19th.
Chief Porter also talked about prescribed burnings, which is planned, appropriate, and controlled burning in favorable conditions, which would help prevent large damaging wildfires. One tactic that residents can do to help prepare for wildfires is hardening their homes. Here's Chief Porter with more information.
You also can do a lot toward hardening your home. We have a low-cost retrofit list of things that you can do as a homeowner to make your home more resilient to and more resistant to ember intrusion and then burning down in the event of a fire. You need to think of it this way. Every acre in California can and will burn someday. You need to be prepared as if it's going to happen today. So do your hardening of your structure, do your defensible space, work with your community to make sure that others are doing the same, and that is what's going to do the most to protect your community when we do have that wildfire that will come to your neighborhood.
In Sacramento, California, Angel Membreri, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
A number of universities in New Jersey will be receiving grants from the state. Now, the money will be used to build computer science-oriented learning centers. EBC's Union Township Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez has more on that story.
On Tuesday, Governor Murphy announced that 3 universities will be given grants from the New Jersey Department of Education to create computer science learning hubs across the state. The program is called Expanding Access to Computer Science Professional Learning Grants. This will help Fairleigh Dickinson University, Kean University, and Rutgers University in New Brunswick to create hubs that will provide high-quality professional learning for educators and resources for school districts to increase computer science opportunities for students. This will also help cities build partnerships with stakeholders to promote the growth of computer science education. Governor Phil Murphy said, New Jersey is committed to ensuring our students have access to a high-quality education in computer science that will open up the doors for them in the future. The learning hubs will provide opportunities for educators to be on the forefront of computer science education and to share that knowledge to students in the classroom. These efforts will contribute to the academic growth of our students and the economic growth of our state. And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 1,208 new positive PCR tests, pushing the total to 876,925. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 45 new confirmed deaths, pushing the total to 23,033 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Up next, ABC Sports, business news, and tips on how to celebrate this year's Teacher Appreciation Week. Oh, and of course, our virtual roundtable. You're watching Eagle News America.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Can't believe you captured my heart. You must have been thinking why I don't know either.
What's up guys? Ako nga pala si Corey. Abangan niyo ako bilang guest performer sa Letters and Music ngayong darating na Sabado, May 8, 1 to 2 p.m. Syempre dito lang sa Net25. See you!
Managinip, mapapaisip at nalilito.
Sila ang mga kinikilalang bayaning may mahalagang papel para makamit ang kalayaan at pagbabago sa Pilipinas. Pero sa panahong ito, may mga bagong bayaning nakikipaglaban sa sakit na lumaganap sa buong daigdig, ang COVID-19. Ang ating mga frontliner, gaya ng healthcare workers, mga doktor, nurses, medical technologists, at iba pang health professionals, mga pulis, sundalo, security guards, mga tauhan na nangangalaga sa seguridad at mahahalagang pangangailangan ng bawat komunidad. Ang mga bagong bayani, ating pasalamatan. Kilalanin ang kanilang sakripisyo at serbisyo para sa lahat.
In Los Angeles, the LPGA returns after an extended pandemic hiatus. You know, the players are happy to get back on the course despite the absence of golfing fans. We have more on this story from EBC's Ellen Basayahe.
After 4 days of competition, the Hugo Air Premier LA Open at the Regal Wilshire Country Club reaches its conclusion.
And at the end of tournament play, it's LPGA player Brooke Henderson who claims the championship, along with the winner's share of a $1.5 million prize.
I'm super excited to get my 10th win on the LPGA Tour. It's definitely a dream come true, and you know, it was really exciting to come from behind today, and I was just making a lot of birdies, and I got a lot of breaks, which was really awesome. And you know, to finish it off with the victory is just incredible, and I'm just really happy for myself and my team, and it's really cool.
How are you going to fit that check in your car?
Yeah, it's a big one. I'm happy about it.
One thing players weren't happy about, however, was the absence of spectators from this year's tournament. Whether circling their favorite golfer for a picture or serving as a cheer section. The loss of fan attendance due to COVID restrictions was clearly noticed.
I think it's just, less fun. I mean, there's nobody really cheering you on. You're hitting a good shot and you just don't know where it ended up because, there's nobody to clap.
It's very empty, to be honest, to play without fans. It's not the same. I really enjoy the energy of, people and the roars and everything around it. So the tournament kind of becomes a little more energetic. But I understand, that this is the way we gotta play now, and eventually we're gonna have more people coming in and enjoy the golf.
Unfortunately, it's hard to get them out right now with COVID and all the restrictions and everything. So we miss them more than anything. I think them coming to watch us. So, but hopefully, in another few months, we can get back to more of a normal life, and things should start to pick up.
From the quality of the course to international travel and even the pandemic, players weighed in on a variety of their golfing experiences, as well as what might await them down the road.
This course, it's playing a little differently to the last couple of years because the greens are definitely softer and the fairways are a little softer too. So it was playing a little longer, but definitely the greens were stopping pretty quickly, so it was actually pretty easier to score. Yeah.
My condition wasn't good today, so every hole was difficult for me, so I don't know, it was tough. I played this course 3 times, and then I had every tournament it was really good finish, so I'm happy. I'm looking for next year.
Obviously, a lot of people are having very tough time in the pandemic time, and I just try to stay as safe as I can and just training and doing what I need to do, just trying to prepare for the tournaments coming up.
I was supposed to be playing on tour last year, but so beginning of the year they canceled a couple tournaments, and then I was just flying back home in Taiwan, and then ever since then I didn't come out at all. So it kind of just messed a lot of my schedule and my plan, but I'm happy to be back. Yeah.
Especially when you travel overseas, so it's tough because jet lag everything. But I find it really fun because to be able to play golf in other countries is so much fun.
Olympics is around the corner. Any chance we'll be seeing you in Tokyo?
Yeah, in 2016 it was really cool to be able to go to Rio and represent Canada, and it'd be great to be able to go to Tokyo again this year, represent Canada, and hopefully play a little better than I did last time.
Oh, the Olympics? I'm working on it. We'll see. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to if I can play in the Olympics. That would be really, really great experience, I think. But yeah, I'm trying pretty hard to get in there.
Many of today's players will be grinding out the months between now and the Olympics by competing in several upcoming tournaments, which for them means hopping from one country to the next to play on some of the world's best fairways.
But a packed globe-trotting schedule isn't anything unusual for professional golfers. And as the race to reach the sport's top ranks heats up, we can expect these ladies to demonstrate how powering through rough patches is just par for the course. In Los Angeles, California, Eva and Allen, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
In Dallas, Texas, a pharmacist took on the pandemic head-on. ABC's Jane Kathleen Gregorio tells us how, despite the challenges of COVID-19, this pharmacist decided to open her own shop.
Pharmacists are sometimes considered the unsung heroes of the pandemic. During the economic challenges caused by COVID-19, Connie Gelino, needed to find a way to provide for her 5 sons while also passing on a legacy of entrepreneurship. Today, she shares her journey of starting a small independent pharmacy business in the middle of the pandemic crisis.
Hi, I'm Connie Gelano. I am the owner and pharmacist of Caring RX Pharmacy. I am a new owner. I have 17 years starting from when I first started in pharmacy within the retail pharmacy setting. I've always been active in the professional organization, so my leadership or my desire for leadership was really fed by a lot of that organization work. And so an opportunity arose during the midst of the 2020 pandemic, which led to this opportunity to own my own pharmacy. And so here we are today. So as many people have experienced within the pandemic, a lot of the processes required to be properly licensed as a pharmacy were also delayed because there are government agencies such as the Texas State Board of Pharmacy, the DEA, those are licenses and registrations that you're required to have in order to operate a pharmacy. Those processes were extra delayed. What normally might take a couple of weeks was extended by extra weeks. There's been a lot of things on the business side of things that I did not expect were things that I had to be worried about. For example, internet service. In terms of the name of the pharmacy, I guess I didn't really think about it at first, that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to come up with a name for my pharmacy. Just kind of keeping within the spirit of, being helpful and providing the best care. It's kind of what led to it. You have to check on the Secretary of State to make sure that the name's not taken. It was just the one that stuck. And as I saw the logo, saw the name with it together, that vision that I had for where I want to take this pharmacy all came together. I've been lucky that the previous owner has been consulting and a mentor for me through this whole process. He's available to answer questions, and so that's been really helpful and not really made that much of an impact during the pandemic. To know that I've got someone who is really kind of supporting me and rooting me on so that way I can be successful. As a pharmacist, it has always been my goal to be a comprehensive, caring pharmacist. They're more than just a patient or a prescription to me. And so hoping to kind of take pharmacy to that next level where we can be seen as true practitioners as other healthcare professionals. I have grander plans of because my degree is a clinical degree, of bringing that to the forefront within the retail or community setting, because I think that we kind of get shunned in that area when it comes to the role of a pharmacist. I don't just focus on the fill and dispense portion of my job. I really focus on, is this really the right medication combination for this patient? Or are there things that can be done to maybe optimize this or make it better? I would like to bring up the fact that independent pharmacies can be the unsung hero in this COVID pandemic time. We have, the buy-in with our communities. We have the capability and the, if we needed to add manpower, we're able to be more flexible and more available to our communities. And I just urge those in, higher state powers to recognize the fact that independents are ready to basically join the fight, so that way we can ensure that we are doing our part to help hopefully end the pandemic. I am absolutely a local business. I want to be a part of my community. I already have plans to join the chamber for my local community, so that way others in my area know that I'm here for them. I want to do good charity works for my community, just because I feel that it's really important to be able to give back to those that are supporting you. So the one word of advice I guess I would have is to not be afraid of the pandemic. And so just making sure that you are doing your homework behind the business that you're trying to start, and understanding what are some of the things, changes that you might have to make in order that you're meeting the certain expectations set out by your local or state government in terms of protecting others during the pandemic. But those with a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit, this is the best time to get in, just because you are going to be there. You have time to really focus on mastering what it is that you want to do and then making it happen.
In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
It's Teacher Appreciation Week, but with the pandemic, online learning in places, and all kinds of other challenges, how do you acknowledge it? For the answers, we turn to EBC's Hazel Valina.
Celebrating what I used to do, teach. May 3 to 7 is Teacher Appreciation Week. We all know how challenging it was for all the teachers around the world since the pandemic began. So it's about time to pay tribute to the molders of the youth, the teachers and educators of the city of New York. We are all in deep gratitude for all the guidance, support, motivation, perseverance, and for all the labor, enthusiasm, and patience that all of the teachers do. So how do we celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week virtually? Here are 3 simple ways on how to say thank you to all our teachers.
Dear Mrs. Perez, thank you for being a great teacher. My favorite thing about my teacher is she does fun things and she's caring. My teacher always says nice things. My teacher likes when I do a good job. My favorite memory is Fun Friday. Love, Olivia Blanco. Happy Teacher Appreciation Day. Whatever happens, even if I'm the last sitting, I'ma stay tall, I'ma stand tall.
So whether you want to say thank you via a video, a slideshow, or even a simple note, the most important thing to remember is that the message must come. In Woodside, New York, Hazel A. Valena, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Well, we're going to take time for a virtual roundtable, and we're going to stay on that topic. We just heard, of course, from Hazel about how to show appreciation for our teachers, and we're going to talk about those special teachers who made a difference in our lives tonight. We've only got a bit of time, so we're going to get to it. I've got 2 of my regulars with me, Mila Simbulan and Mayanne Manzano-Gerzen, who's also sitting in the big producer's chair tonight. So we'll begin with you, Mayanne. You're the boss, but tell us why you're grateful for teachers.
Well, Thomas, without the teachers, without our educators, there's no education, we can, there's this thing that we call self-taught. Yes, we can educate ourselves by reading books and whatnot, but without these teachers, we cannot learn the traditional way, which is like we need mentors, right? So we owe them their, not just their knowledge, but their patience, their labor, just what Hazel said. And those are the reasons why I'm so grateful for teachers. It's not just the knowledge that they share, it's their patience, it's their labor. Sometimes they have to be creative also just to teach their students. I appreciate those things, Thomas.
I don't even know whether I could do a job like that, but I certainly do appreciate them. But before we get to my reasons, I want to hear from Mila Simbulan. Mila, why are you grateful for teachers?
Thomas, Mayanne. Yes, I agree with Mayanne. All throughout my school years, I was in the Philippines, and we have such high respect to teachers. My mom is actually a teacher. So teachers are like our second mom or dad. They don't only teach us, about academic stuff, but also they teach us about good morals. They teach us how to respect others. They even teach us how to sing, how to dance. They do all those things just for us to learn. They even teach. I remember them teaching us how to organize our things, how to clean all those things that we use after school, things like that. So I really have such respect for teachers.
It's all encompassing.
Yeah,
right.
It's you bring up a good thing here, Myla, and it's something that's missing in North America, and that's the respect for teachers. When I went to school, definitely you had respect for teachers, but that's back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. But today, that respect isn't there. I remember if you got into trouble at school, you just hoped that it stayed in school because you were going to be in more trouble with your parents if the teacher called home, And I presume it was the same way in the Philippines. But we certainly
yes, Thomas.
But I was fortunate because I had some very tough teachers. Not mean, they were tough. And by tough, I mean they expected a lot out of their students. They pushed you. They pushed you to try and do your best. And that paid off later in life. Just some of the ways they taught, some of the things they did just to get your mind going, to help you to think, to help you to put together ideas, and it went beyond just the curriculum. They talk about life, just like you were saying, Myla and Mayan. They talk about life, and truly, I think they were mentors. They were mentors.
Agree. I definitely remember those teachers in college and high school who would share their stories during maybe while waiting for our test to be done, or while waiting for the students. They would share their life stories, and that's the part where it hits you. Like, they're very inspiring, right, Thomas? And I agree also with what you said, that we appreciate tough teachers because sometimes the fear that they give you is what drives you to be better.
I've got to tell you a bit of a funny story before we break here. My daughter came home from school one day, and she's complaining about her teacher just being so mean. And her exact words is, "I have no love in my heart for this teacher." And I said, "That does it. We're going back to school, and I'm going to talk to that." "Oh, no, don't do that. No, I'm not going." And I told her teacher about it later, because every year with the kids, I would say to the teachers, I'll support you in whatever disciplinary measures you take. I'm not going to come and argue with you, but I called my daughter's bluff on that, and she did not want me. I told her teacher about it, and she just laughed.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add is teachers help you get ready on what's ahead. It's not always by the book, but it's what they experience that they share with you. And in turn, that will help you, go throughout your life. Yeah, which is really, really important as well.
Truly an important part of our lives. And they're out there on the front lines. So we're going to recognize them along with all the other frontliners, the healthcare workers, first responders, essential workers of all types. Let's show our appreciation and give them a round of applause for their work. We appreciate you, and that does it for tonight's show. That's today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, and truly, we live in interesting times.
Laging saludo sana sa harapan.
Kung may masihigit pa sa salitang salamat, yun ang dapat sa inyong humaharap at bumubuhat sa gitna ng kalamidad. Hindi kayo natinag, patuloy nagsilbi at umalalay, di umilag sa banta ng sakit, tapos di makauwi sa pamilya niyong mahal. Kayo'y nagbibigay ngiti, ang siyang dahilan kaya gumigising ka sa umaga. Litrato ng alaala ay nasa iyong pitaka, umalis at lumakad. Ang daladalay pag-asa na sa darating na panahon muling matatamasa ang nakasanayan mo kasama ang mga mahal sa buhay. Mayayaan yakap na ulit sila, bubulong sa panalangin na kayo laging ingatan. Gabay at tulong niya ang lagi niyong makahawakan. Sa laban na to, lahat kami kasama niyo palagi. Para sa amin kayo ang mga makabakas. Para sa amin kapakanan, sa aming piso, ginugo ni Taga. Kayo ay mistulang aming mga karasal. Pagod at hirap, may aming ginhawa. Laging saludo sana sa harapan. Listen, pasalubong ihanda na.